We just heard the senator from Florida talk about the very important piece of legislation that is in front of us, and I want to thank him for being the lead on this and all the work he's put in it and the passion that he has had to make sure that our veterans in this nation have what they need when they come home from these wars. Now, last Friday, we were again reminded of the difficult employment picture our nation's veterans continue to face. In the monthly unemployment rate for August, we saw that across the country there were 720,000 unemployed veterans. It's a number that includes over 225,000 post-9/11 veterans, many of them who have served multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan and have sacrificed time and again for our safety. Mr. President, this should not be the case. Our veterans have what it takes to not only go out and find work, but to excel in the workforce of the 21st century. In fact, the characteristics that our veterans have and exemplify read like the job qualifications you might find at any major company or small business, and that's because they have leadership ability, discipline, technical skills, teamwork, and the ability to perform under pressure. No question. And they have those skills because, as a country, we have invested in training them. We cannot and should not let that training or the millions of dollars we have invested in these men and women go to waste. But in far too many instances today, that is exactly what's happening. Too often, on the day our service members are discharged, we as a nation pat them on the back, thank them for their service, but we don't give them a helping hand into the job market. That has to end. And Mr. President, this Senate has taken bipartisan action in the past to begin to change the way that our veterans do transition from the battlefield to the job market. We were able to pass the Vada Hires Here Act, which I co-authored. That was signed into law last year. And importantly, that law transforms the way we provide transition training to our service members when they leave the military. And it includes a provision that today in my home state and across the country is providing thousands of dollars in tax credits to businesses to hire our vets. Now, in addition to that bill, we've also worked to build partnerships with the private sector in order to tap into the tremendous amount of goodwill that our companies have for our returning heroes. Sometimes this is as simple as working with a company to show them the easy steps that can help bring veterans on board. Things like ensuring that they're advertising their job openings with local veterans service organizations and on their local military bases, or having veterans in their own HR departments that veterans can identify with when they apply for work, or just having someone on staff that can help translate the experience of veterans into the work that that company does. You know, time and again, big companies like Amazon and Microsoft, or a lot of smaller businesses I've seen, tell me these steps make an impact. But beyond those steps, it is very clear that more needs to be done, particularly when our veterans' unemployment rates among young veterans who are ages 18 to 24 continues to hover around 20%. Action has to be taken, because 20% is 1 in 5 of our veterans who can't find a job to support their family. 1 in 5 of them that do not have an income to provide stability. 1 in 5 of them that don't have the work to provide them with the self-esteem and pride that's so critical to their transition home. Now, this is a problem that manifests itself in homelessness, in broken families, and far too often today in our veterans taking their own lives. It's a problem that neither the veterans themselves nor government alone can solve. But it is also one that we have to do everything we can to address it. And here in the Senate, that means a bipartisan, all-hands-on-deck strategy. And that is exactly what the senator from Florida is putting forward. Senator Nelson has put forward the Veterans Job Corps bill. What this bill does is, over the next 5 years, it will increase training and hiring opportunities for all of our veterans who are using successful job training programs in the country. It's going to help hire qualified veterans as police officers and firefighters and first responders. By the way, at a time when 85% of law enforcement agencies had to reduce their budgets in the last year. It's going to help train and hire veterans to help restore and protect our national, state, and tribal forests, our parks, and our public lands, all the at a time, by the way, when we face a $10 billion maintenance backlog for our public lands. It's a backlog I have seen at home personally in my home state of Washington. And because training and hiring our veterans has never seen and never should be an effort that divides us along partisan lines, the Veterans Job Corps takes good ideas from both sides of the aisle. In fact, our bill will provide veterans with access to the internet and computers to help conduct job searches at one-stop centers and other locations. This is an idea championed by Senator Toomey. It's going to help guarantee that our rural and disabled veterans have access to veterans employment representatives. This is a bill that is championed by Senator Tester, who's chairing the Senate floor this morning, and it's a great idea, and we've put it in this bill. It's going to increase transition assistance programs for eligible veterans and their spouses. That is a bill that was introduced by Senator Bozeman of our committee. And it will require consideration of a veteran's training or experience gained while they're serving on active duty when they seek certification and licenses. That is a bill that's co-sponsored by Democrats and Republicans alike. This bill says all good ideas are welcome because our veterans need all the help they can get. And it's fully paid for in a bipartisan way. It's been endorsed most recently by the National Association of Police Organizations, but there are also a lot of veteran service organizations that stand behind this bill as well. And they do so because they know that helping veterans find employment is absolutely critical to meeting many of the challenges that they face when they come home. You know, Mr. President, our veterans don't ask for a lot. Oftentimes, they come home and don't even acknowledge their own sacrifices. My own father never talked about his time fighting in World War II. In fact, I never saw his Purple Heart or knew that he had a wallet with shrapnel in it or a diary that detailed his time in combat until after he died and my family gathered to sort out his belongings. But you know, Mr. President, our veterans shouldn't have to ask. We should know to provide for them. When my father's generation came home from a war, they came home to opportunity. My father came home to a community that supported him. He came home to college and a job. It was a job that gave him pride and a job that helped him start his family, and one that, of course, ultimately led me to starting my own. That's the legacy of opportunity this Senate, in a bipartisan way, has lived up to for today's veterans. So I urge our colleagues to build on the successes we have had in passing bipartisan veterans employment legislation. Veterans returning home from across the country are watching us, and they certainly do not have time to let politics block their path to a job that will help them serve in this economy. Surely, this is a bill that is something that we can show them that we can come together on, no matter how close or far away we are from an election.